YouTube. I figured it out. I figured out why people are so upset at Star Wars The Last Jedi. It was bad storytelling. All of our lives, so many of the things we've been told to consider our great storytelling techniques just aren't. And one of the things that I think we really just need to get to terms with is that when it comes to telling an awesome story, useless characters do useless things and take up a lot of time and energy. For instance, Poe, our epic starfighter, utterly useless character, did nothing to help any of the story other than take up like 30 minutes of storytelling time, get a ton of characters killed, throw everybody into a really bad situation, and then still be allowed to walk around like nothing happened. I mean, what an utterly useless character. What a useless person. And the fact that he is consistently being sold and billed and has action figures and is in the X-Wing all over the place is kind of ridiculous. Like, all Poe exists for is selling stuff. And Finn, the bumbling buffoon, the only one that got to remain somewhat heroic because we had an awesome mechanic lady show up and shock the shit out of him. There's an interesting character. Someone that prevents deserters. Someone that sacrifices everything for the sake of the resistance. Someone that doesn't sacrifice other people for the sake of the resistance. There's an interesting character. And I wish I could remember her name. Damn it. But there she is. Epic. Finn, useless. Even when it came to like running through the Star Destroyer, the little robot did more than he did, was more useful than he was. BB-8, awesome character. And, I think that that's kind of the struggle, is that those two characters fit inside of this hero archetype, this trope of Maverick. And in a story like Star Wars, The Last Jedi, that's a useless character. Because the overarching point, the bigger goal, the message I took away from Star Wars The Last Jedi is just as there was a rise in the Force in Kylo Ren, there needed to be a balancing force in Rey. Just as when the death of the Emperor came about, there needed to be balance. And Luke, in a way, in an effort to let the Resistance escape, died, right? Balance was maintained, and that balance and force of the universe is indiscriminate and acts everywhere. It doesn't care if you're black, white, man, woman, adult, child. There is the force. It is unending and it is balancing, and that is the point. It's got this epic spiritual metaphysical theme to it, and that was amazing, and that got ruined by trying to make Poe a thing. And whether or not Leia should be using the Force, whatever. The way it looks to me is she didn't show a huge affinity for the Force, and yeah, she's a twin, has the same parents, but not an identical twin to Luke. And I'm kind of like, I don't care. It surprised me. I wasn't ready for it, but it didn't bother me, and frankly, it worked out as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, it detracts from those epic moments of doing the Force projecting and Rey searching for meaning on the island, and like it was a huge epic metaphysical spiritual story that had an extra hour of crap that didn't need to be done. And honestly, our Lady Admiral FTL driving that ship through that the Emperor's juggernaut, baller. And honestly, nobody thought of that through the entire history of the Star Wars universe. No one thought, hey, let's put Jar Jar Binks and tell him to drive into that ship. Or C-3PO. No one figured that out in the entire history of Star Wars. Ugh. Genius move. And frankly, we could have gotten rid of Finn and Poe in a real quick shot. And the movie could have been done real fast. And we could have dealt with that more interesting metaphysical stuff. Really? It's not about race, it's not about gender. It's the fact that there is, in fact, a paradigm shift in storytelling. A more ethnic-centered, a more ethnically diverse-centered, a more female-centered or gender-balanced centered storytelling. It's a change in our culture, it's a change in storytelling, and Disney played both sides of that paradigm shift. It's an uncomfortable one. It makes us afraid, it makes us nervous, it makes us yell at each other from our little echo chambers and wonder why we're not communicating with each other at all. And Disney's laughing its way to the bank while a bunch of you idiots are yelling at each other as to whether or not it was a sexist move that people are super pissed off about all the strong female characters. No, what all of us are really pissed off about is Disney's trying to sell us stuff. We're buying it. They told a bad story. Well, no, they ruined a good story. And we're all paying for it.